This is the first part of my series about animating in Blender. In this video we will create animation like that. Before we start, I want to mention that if you want to follow this tutorial, you need some very basic experience in Blender. So we will need animation ready ball model. You can download ready model for this animation on my website. Link in the description. Okay, so this is how our rig should look like. It has 3 bones. If you cannot select them, make sure you are in pose mode. The blue one is global bone. It will move every other bone. But okay, in this video we will not use it. We also have a green bone and red bone. And the difference between them is that if I will move red bone, I will move green bone as well. However, if I will move green bone only, it will not move anything else. And also, if we scale down green bone, our ball will look like this. However, if we will scale down red bone, our ball will still touch our floor. So I guess this will be a very useful tool during animating. Before we will start animating, we have to make sure we have a setup we need. You need just to open preferences like that. After that, we will press animation button right here, and then we will change default interpolation to constant. I will explain what we change in chapter number 4. Also, remember to press this button in animation workspace. The first step in creating our bouncing ball animation is making a block for it. In this process, we need to create and set up the most important frames in our animation. Our movement will be very sharp and will not show the final movement we want to achieve. This will help us, however, to plan our animation well. What we did in last chapter is setting our animation from smooth, which we will not use after all, to sharp movement like here in the video. So now, when we know how to use our rig and have correct setup, we can start making our block for animation. Let's put our ball in a location where we want it to start falling, like I did, for example. So now we have to make our ball touching the floor. We can place our ball manually, but I prefer to just press Alt-G to clear our position. And so we have a block of our first bounce. Great! So our next frame will be frame number 18, and we'll place our ball a bit lower than in a frame number 0. Yeah, so we can compare it with other frames, like I do. I think that's fine. And then we will move to frame number 24, because we want to have the same space between keyframes here. Here we will clear our location here once again. Yeah, I think that's not so bad. Now we will try to create next bounce 3 frames later, like that. And we have to place our ball again lower than the last time. And now we have to clear our position again. Okay, I think that our ball should be after our first bounce a bit higher. Yeah, maybe something like that. Let's see that whole animation again. And maybe here also a bit higher. So, because there is not something like 1.5 frames later, we will try 2 frames later. Yes, so maybe like that. 2 frames later we will reset our position again. So let's see how it looks like. Now we can try add some cool vibration at the end of our animation, so our ball will lose its energy and speed there. 1 frame should be okay. So yeah. So now when we will finish, our animation should look like that, and it looks pretty well. So that's our block. Let's start smoothing our animation. Firstly, we should move to frame number 0 and select our keyframe there. After that, if we'll press T on our keyboard, we will have some interpolation options displayed. We have to choose Bezier here. But before we will create some good setup for this animation, let's see what we have now. The ball is just starting falling slowly, then it speeds up, and at the end it slows down again. That's not what we want. We need our ball to be slow at the beginning and then speed up. So let's enter graph editor right here, and this spline shows how our move looks like. So it's like I said, it's slow at the beginning, then it speeds up and then slows again. Okay, let's select our Y location here and press Shift H to hide other transformations. Now we have our Y location only. In order to remove slowing down at the end, we need to select that part of spline and then scale it down. After that we select our graph right here and we scale it up. So our spline right now should look like that. Okay, I will maybe scale that viewport up, and now we see it falls correctly. So great. So then we will select our graph here and press T, and we'll set again our interpolation to Bezier. And then to make our animation smoother, I will modify our graph like that. Okay, great. So right now we will repeat this process for each keyframe. We will skip the rest of this process now. So after we will fix our interpolation in each keyframe, our graph editor should look like that. It is optional to polish our interpolation in these keyframes because they are so close to each other that we'll not see any difference if we will fix them. But if you want to do it, you can. So after we will do this, our animation and graph editor should look like this, and they look pretty well. However, there is one thing we can add to make this animation juicy and nice. What I mean by that is that we can add some squash and stretch for our animation. However, we will focus on that in the next video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. And if you found this video useful, remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel.